Welcome to Cinema Bites. Your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our film starts with Sarah and her son Josh. She was just out taking her son for a walk. She keeps remembering and telling her son about his father, Leo. We learn that Leo was American and Sarah is German. After a while, she gets up to get some cream for Josh. Suddenly, she hears the sound of a plane above her, and the sky becomes colorful and she starts trembling. She remembers the last mission she went on with her lover Leo. Suddenly, this poor boy passes by her and takes the ball. She goes crazy and starts fighting, almost finishing him off. She snaps out of it at the last moment. She pulls herself together and goes straight back home. She had dedicated her life to her son Josh and lived on the memory of her husband Leo. After a while, she was going to the embassy to submit her papers because she got a job in America and said that Josh would also get to see his father's family. Then she receives a message from a journalist telling her he has new information about the Afghanistan incident and asks her to urgently watch the video he sent and if she recognizes anyone in it. When she looks for Josh, she is shocked that he's not beside her, and she keeps calling and looking for him until she finds him standing far away. She tells him not to move away from her again. She keeps telling Josh that they will travel to America to live. They arrive at the American consulate and check in, her and Josh. She notices that at every step there's a camera. Inside the building, she puts all her belongings away. She takes her file and goes in. She sits in the waiting area to wait for her turn in line. But Josh wasn't sitting still. He was restless. So she goes to ask the employee about her turn. The staff member tells her that at the end of the hallway there is a playroom for children. Josh is excited to see the toys and asks Sarah to leave him there for a while. She agrees and goes to get herself a coffee. After a while, she hears her number called at window 6, so she goes to get Josh. On her way, she sees these two people, and they were up to something suspicious, but she doesn't think much of it. As soon as she enters the playroom, she is shocked not to find Josh there. She gets scared and calls out, "It's not time to play, come out!" But there's no response. She keeps searching the whole place, but unfortunately, there's no trace of Josh at all. She starts to feel terrified. She quickly runs to security. When they're no help, she asks to see their boss. Mr. Eric arrives. He tells her he is the head of security for the whole place, and his assistant Donnie is with him. He listens to everything that happened and realizes her son is missing, so he personally takes her to search all the offices. He keeps trying to calm her down, telling her, "I worry about my daughter Eileen too. If your son is here, he's safe. Don't worry, there's only one exit." She tells him, "But I saw another exit," and remembers the two people who seemed nervous when they saw her. When Eric goes with her, he says there's no way that door can open because it's a highly secured area. Then Dawn arrives and whispers to Eric. They ask her to speak privately in his office, where he takes her file and learns that she was part of the Special Forces, a combat expert, and part of the Defense Forces in Afghanistan in 2017. When she hears this, she tells him, "What matters now is my son." Then Dawn brings another file. He tells her that her son never came with her. He's not registered at all in the entry log. She gets angry and says, "I definitely came in with him in front of everyone. Dawn, you even saw us and greeted Josh yourself." But he tells her, "No, that didn't happen at all." Sarah gets upset and demands the security camera footage, but Eric tries to calm things down and asks Dawn to leave. Sarah asks to call the German police, and Eric immediately calls them because they had already notified them when she first said her son was missing. When Sarah talks to them and tells them what happened, they treat her as if she's crazy and tell her they're not allowed to enter the consulate to search because the place has diplomatic immunity. They ask her to leave and say they will follow up on the investigation. But this angers Sarah, and she tells them, "I'm not leaving here without my son." Just as she's about to run, Eric stops her and says he tells her he'll overlook her behavior because he understands her worry about her son. He makes her sit and wait for her exit time, and Dawn stands guard over her. After a while, Dawn gets a phone call. He tells her, "Don't move from here until I get back." She sits, thinking about what to do in this disaster. She decides to call her mother, tells her where she is and what happened. Her mother is shocked and says, "Why did you take your son there? Give me someone from the consulate to talk to immediately." Strangely, she also asks if Sarah is taking her medication or not. Sarah hangs up on her. She starts looking for anything to open the other door and finds a pin. She opens it, takes off her jacket, grabs any file so no one suspects her, and pretends to be an employee. At that moment, Dawn tells his colleague her shift is over and he'll take her place so she can rest. Because they were talking, they didn't notice Sarah on the surveillance cameras. Sarah manages to climb out of the window, walking on the glass from the outside until she decides to jump to the other side. She falls hard, but she gets up to keep searching for her son. She breaks the basement door and enters, searching everywhere. She finds a place with many rooms labeled guest apartments. When she finds a bag in front of one of the doors, she tries to open it. It opens. She sneaks inside. Suddenly, she finds a woman in front of her. She quickly covers her mouth and asks what language she speaks. The woman calms down and replies. Sarah asks, "Did you see a little boy? My son was kidnapped from the playroom." When she searches the woman's bag, she finds jewelry, but then someone knocks on the door. Sarah begs her, "Please don't say I'm here." The woman opens the door and takes the stuff without revealing Sarah is inside. When Sarah asks why she didn't report to security, the woman says she did, but something strange is going on here. It seems that someone from the consulate is involved in the kidnapping. She tells Sarah she has been here for 2 months and can help her find her son in exchange for Sarah helping her escape from here. Eric tells the president, "I feel like she's not harmful, but her face isn't the face of a harmful person. She might be delusional." She replied, "Even so, we can't allow a member of the special forces to wander around our headquarters like this." He told her, "But if we report her, she'll be arrested and go to prison, and she'll lose her whole life just because she entered the consulate and her son disappeared." She told him, "Go now and bring her to me." They started searching for her everywhere but couldn't find her. Meanwhile, Sarah meets Irina. Irina turns on loud music and tells her it's so no one can hear them. When Sarah asks about a phone, Irina tells her they took her SIM card and that the internal network is very weak, and the wireless networks are very secure. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Sarah hides. 2 people enter and grab Irina. When Irina calls for Sarah's help, Sarah is forced to come out. She grabs one of them and hit him, but the other catches her and hits her. She keeps resisting and fights back. When she tries to escape, she finds Don facing her and holding her at gunpoint. Eric comes up behind her and tranquilizes her. He orders Don to stay in Irina's room. Sarah keeps remembering her husband and son. When she wakes up, she finds them in front of her. She tells them, "My son disappeared and you know it, but you're pretending you don't." Deborah tells her to calm down. Deborah says she called Sarah's mother and knows about her psychological condition, that she suffers from depression and has delusional episodes. But Sarah says, "I know you're just stalling until the car takes my son away." Eric shows her the security footage, and strangely, she really does see herself alone, without Josh. Deborah tells her what happened is because of her illness. They ask her to try to remember carefully. At the end, Deborah tells her the German authorities are coming to take her. After a while, someone comes to untie her. It's Irina, who tells her to get up quickly because the story about her son is being covered up and they need to hurry before it's too late. Irina also tells her the men who attacked them have been dealt with and the place is cleaned up. Luckily, they didn't notice the bag of drugs. But Sarah is in another world, to the point she thinks Irina is just a hallucination. Irina tries to prove she's real. She grabs scissors to hurt herself to prove it, but Sarah stops her and tells her to get up because they have work to do. They climb out the window. Sarah keeps saying Dawn is definitely involved in her son's kidnapping. She tells Irina they need to find the kids who own the bag. Irina says there's a conference happening now, and they decide to sneak in without being seen. Meanwhile, Dawn goes to check on them and finds they've escaped. Irina posts the bag's details online and says if the owner needs it, they should say what's in it. Sarah doesn't know whether to believe herself or Eric, that Josh didn't enter with her at all. Irina gives her a rubber band and says it will help her distinguish between delusion and reality. Sarah tells her story and says she wants to leave to see her family. She also mentions a job offer in America. The bag's owner replies, arranging a meeting at a nearby restaurant. They go there quickly, and Irina sits away to observe. Soon, the same guy Sarah saw before arrives and tells her he has nothing to do with her son. Only the bag matters to him. He says he knows where Josh is and saw where the kidnappers hid him, but Sarah can tell he's lying. She says she knows he's in trouble because of the bag and offers to help him in exchange for his help. He says he can only help by disabling the cameras in the area and giving her the building's layout. He tells her to follow him to the bathroom. Suddenly, Eric enters the restaurant with his daughter, and Sarah quickly hides from him. He calls Eden, and they find out that Sarah has escaped, so he immediately gets up to leave, but unfortunately, Elin forgets her rabbit toy, and Sarah goes to take it and tells her she'll return it after she finds her son. Then she goes into the bathroom, where the man is, and they learn from him that they have only 1 hour before the cameras are fixed. He also gives her a map of the whole place, explains all the locations, and tells her he suspects her son is in the detention cells because they are close to the games room. He also tells her where Eric's office is. She hits him in the face so it seems like he was resisting, in case anyone finds out she was with him. Then she leaves, and Irina is surprised by these people's connection to Josh's kidnapping. Eric finds out about the camera situation. At that moment, they go into Eric's office, and Irina keeps searching his device. She discovers that Eric was following Sarah and investigating her. Sarah realizes that her coming to this place was never a coincidence. Meanwhile, Dawn and Eric are watching the camera situation. Eric tells Dawn that she might enter through his device, so he immediately asks him to bring it. Sarah remembers the journalist's video, accesses her device, and sees that he was present at the location, meaning he was in Afghanistan on the day of the incident. So for sure, there's a connection to that day. She quickly calls the journalist and tells him there's a blurry picture and asks him to enhance it so she can identify who was with him. She finds out from him that he was a soldier and that they let him go after the injury he suffered. There were also many suspicions and corruption stories around him. Then he tells her that Eric had a hand in the incident that happened to them. At that moment, Jesse sees Dawn coming, but Sarah insists on seeing the picture after the journalist edits it and keeps waiting. Dawn is almost upon them, so they quickly gather themselves to escape before he sees them. But unfortunately, he does see them, and they start fighting. In the end, they manage to escape, and Sarah gets out through the same place she entered before. As soon as she opens the computer, she's shocked to learn that he was among those who died. She decides she must go back to the warehouse. Irina tells her, "We barely managed to get out," and says what they have is enough to incriminate them even more. But Sarah knows that if she leaves without her son, she'll never see him again. She heads to the warehouse and tells Irina to go ahead and leave the rest to her, that she'll continue on her own. She thanks Irina for everything she did and tells her she'll distract the men until Irina gets to the car, so she'll be sure she's safe. She does just that, and everyone heads towards Sarah. She keeps fighting and running from place to place until she finds Eric in front of her, and they start fighting fiercely. She manages to free herself from him at the last moment, and just as she is about to finish him, he tells her that Josh is with him, and if anything happens to him, she can forget about ever seeing her son again. She tells him she knows everything about him and that he was involved in the massacre. When she realizes he won't tell her where her son is, she hits him and escapes, searching everywhere, but unfortunately, she can't find Josh. Then she gets an idea. Since the camera repair is ongoing and she doesn't know how to keep searching, she makes a compound herself and throws it, causing an explosion that makes everyone anxious. Eric doesn't want to report it, but things get out of hand, and Deborah finds out about the explosion and tells him to do what must be done. The first thing they need to do is evacuate the whole place. Meanwhile, Sarah goes to Elin, Eric's daughter, and tells her father wants to see her. At first, Elin refuses, but when she sees her toy, she knows Sarah is with her father because it's her favorite toy, so she goes with her. Sarah takes her to the safe room, which no one can break into, and calls Eric's office to tell him his daughter is with her. Everyone gathers around the room. Eric asks to see his daughter and realizes she really is with Sarah. Now he's torn between his daughter and his job, but keeps resisting, since Sarah has the upper hand. She tells him she's cut off all the air, and his daughter will suffocate, and her life is in his hands. Meanwhile, Elin's mother arrives, terrified, and Deborah keeps telling her to get the girl out. Deborah doesn't know anything about Eric's past and tells her, "Make him confess to everything he did and I'll let the girl out." She talks to Eric and tells him, "Speak up, Eric, and be honest." But Eric knows Sarah is kind and would never kill his daughter. As soon as Sarah feels the girl is about to suffocate, she lets the air back in and tells him she'll let the girl out if Eric comes in to talk to her. She opens the door, lets the girl out, and Eric enters. She tells him, "I did all this for you," and starts to say, "Do you know how many people you've killed?" He realizes she's recording him and that everyone outside can hear everything, so he quickly stops the recording and tells her he never wanted to hurt her. He claims he didn't know about the drug trafficking she uncovered, and that he did what he did to protect himself. He says he wanted to secure his daughter's future. He's the one who sent her the job offer so she'd come and apply for a travel permit, and at that time he could take her son. She wouldn't be able to live without him, and she'd die, so no one would be able to expose him. It turns out he's the one who threw Josh's toy so she'd think her son was kidnapped, act accordingly, and get arrested. He's the one who deleted Josh from the records and had to push her to this state, so the German army would believe she's weak and sick, and at that point, they'd abandon her, so no one would believe her story. After that, the heartless man pulls out his weapon and shoots himself, then shoots her too, to make it look like it was self-defense and that he got rid of her. But the surprise is that Sarah was recording everything through his daughter's toy, and everyone hears his confession. Just as Dawn tries to escape, they catch him. Deborah rushes in and forces Eric to reveal Josh's location and calls an ambulance to save Sarah. Josh turns out to be in a place no one would ever imagine. As soon as Sarah sees her son, she resists, and they manage to save her. About 2 months later, Sarah is living with her son and mother, and she was traveling to introduce Josh to his family, and suddenly, she hears the sound of flying. But this time, she wasn't afraid. She realizes that she's finally healed and can live in peace. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button so you never miss an updates. See you in the next video.